A massive, living eye glared straight at him, furious and unyielding. The moment it saw him, a deep, echoing voice demanded, "Who are you?" Stunned, our hero froze. Just by touching the dark attribute buried inside Elder Wu's body, have I been corrupted and trapped in an illusion, he thought. But instead of fear, a smirk crossed his face. Lightning crackled faintly around him as he whispered, "That doesn't matter. I'm only here to erase you." The dark anomaly within that consciousness didn't hesitate. A violent surge of dark energy exploded toward him. The air trembled. Startled, our hero darted aside, narrowly dodging the strike. How is this happening, he thought, moving swiftly through the swirling chaos. Then he stopped, eyes widening. This strange lightning, it's not weaker than the divine thunder I absorbed on Yu Huang Peak. But before he could think further, countless insect-like dark anomalies emerged around him, swarming endlessly. He gripped his sword tightly, eyes blazing. Even though this is an illusion, each of them feels as powerful as the dark tide anomalies, and there are thousands. Flames roared from his blade as he infused it with his yang attribute. The creatures fused together, forming one monstrous being. "So, this is swarm control," he muttered, then charged forward, slashing through the mass, cutting them down one after another. Each strike echoed through the dark void, his movements fluid and relentless. This must be an S-level anomaly aggregate, but maybe because this is an illusion, or due to the lost tempering flowers effect, its strength has dropped, maybe a level. His thoughts grew darker. Are these the same entities Elder Wu faced, the ones capable of annihilating entire cities? Then he realized, no, they're probably even worse. The battlefield swarmed with unending creatures. Seeing their numbers, he raised his hand and unleashed the power of darkness. The creatures recoiled, fear in their distorted voices. You can't be human!" But he only laughed. His dark power expanded, forming a pitch-black domain that devoured everything. The dark creature screamed in rage, "We will meet again soon." As the echo faded, all the monsters were consumed, wiped from existence. So, this was the consciousness left behind by the dark anomaly. It said we. Are there more? Will other calamities descend again? Determined, he destroyed the remaining creatures using lightning and flame, then pulled himself out of Elder Wu's consciousness. Outside, he extracted the remaining corruption from Elder Wu's body and sealed it using the 9-dragon skyfire technique. Jialan watched the black energy twist in his hand. So this is the dark attribute that remained within Elder Wu's body. "Yes," he said calmly, "it's the residue of the calamity anomaly. Even though it still carries immense power, after being weakened by the lost tempering flower and Elder Wu's sealing efforts, it's no longer a threat. Elder Wu truly deserves the title of Xia Nation's greatest pioneer. He's been suppressing this darkness all this time. Anyone else would have died countless times." Jialan's eyes softened. "You really saved his life." He smiled faintly. "Not entirely. Without the flower's effect, I couldn't have removed it." She replied, "The flower preserved him, but your power gave him a chance to recover." Looking at the energy in his hand, he clenched his fist, crushing it completely. Now it's useless. Then he turned to Jialan, his tone firm. In that illusion, the calamity's remnant said, "It will return. We need to be ready. We can't let a recovering old man fight again." Jialan nodded. "Yes, I know. I've heard the rumor." He raised a brow. "Rumor?" She explained, "The monitoring departments of the Military and Spirit Association collect data on spiritual energy fluctuations. Those reports predict that Xia Nation might not even survive the first year of spiritual recovery. Of course, none of us want to believe that." He thought deeply. Monitoring the energy data sounds credible. She looked at him. "Do you think the rumor could be true?" Silence. Then his thoughts drifted. Could my rebirth have altered the future? I lived until the 3rd year of spiritual recovery. By then, Blue Star was nearly destroyed. Placing a hand on her shoulder, he said softly, "Don't overthink. Elder Wu will wake soon. And if the calamity returns, I'll fight beside you all." He gazed ahead, determination burning in his eyes. The war against the calamity will come again, but this time, I'll change everything. Next. In his apartment, he sat cross-legged in deep cultivation. His body trembled as energy surged within. After 2 encounters with S-class anomalies, I can feel it. I'm close to breaking through to Spirit Creation Realm 2-star. The revival of spiritual energy is accelerating. Even with the dark attribute's power, it's not enough. Dark energy rippled through the air around him. His eyes fell on a small plant nearby, the one he'd brought back before. It moved slightly, as if alive. Smiling, he said, "It's you. Not taking you with me last time was my mistake. You're not exactly easy to carry, though." He stood, a hint of excitement in his gaze. "All right, let's see your true potential. Time for a little walk." Soon he reached the mountain behind his apartment, carrying the plant. Looking at the lush forest, he muttered, "The Spirit Association's botanical department really outdid themselves. The forest has regenerated so fast, the trees that burned are already reborn." He removed the plant from its pot and said playfully, "Remember, absorb only a little, don't overdo it. With your appetite, you could drain the entire Blue Star dry." The moment its roots touched the soil, energy erupted. Everything around, trees, grass, flowers, withered instantly. Frowning, he pulled the plant back out. "You've nearly drained this whole area. Let's find another place for you." Holding it in his arms, he chuckled. "Among all plant-type evolved beings, I wonder where you rank. With that desolation attribute, you'd easily be an A-class anomaly." He looked around. The mountain was silent. Not a single animal in sight. They must fear the desolation energy you release, he thought. Then he froze. His instincts flared. Something was near. Narrowing his eyes, he whispered, "That sound. Wolves." Moments later, eerie howls echoed from every direction. One after another, the cries overlapped, haunting, hungry, and wild. Within seconds, he realized the mountain was surrounded. Dozens, maybe hundreds of wolves. Their glowing eyes burned through the darkness. Calmly, our hero looked toward the forest ahead. "A wolf pack," he muttered, his tone sharpening. "And it's evolving." Standing at the base of the ridge, our hero looked up, and there it was. A massive wolf stood tall on the rocks, its fur shimmering with dark energy. He narrowed his gaze. Is that the Wolf King? Even from a distance he could tell. Its evolution was almost complete. The beasts surrounding him growled fiercely, their combined roar shaking the very air. Could this spiritual energy be about to evolve into an A-level anomaly, he thought, steadying his breath. The wolves began to close in, step by step, surrounding him from every direction. His expression hardened. The Wolf King's attribute has changed, from wood to poison. That poison must have formed after absorbing dark energy. He exhaled slowly. Dark activity is rising again. No wonder it developed dual attributes. Still, even now, it's only an A-class anomaly. Without hesitation, he placed the flower back into the ground. "Now, finish them all," he commanded. But in his mind, he already knew the danger. Even if it's only A-class, their sheer number is the real threat. And the city lies right beneath this mountain. If these wolves rush downhill, it'll be a disaster. The moment the plant's roots touched the soil, an explosion of energy erupted outward, shaking the entire ridge. The Wolf King roared, a deafening sound that made the mountains tremble. Our hero smirked. "Then let's begin. I want to see how strong your desolation energy is when used alone." Far away, a patrol team felt the disturbance. "The Wolf King's evolution succeeded," one of them said, scanning the readings. "Its energy is immense. What's the pollution level?" Another replied nervously, "It's at 90. 90! The hunters shouted with disbelief on their faces. The researchers' hands trembled. Not just that, it's still rising. The wood attribute Wolf King is already at Ghost Axe realm, 3 stars, no, maybe even Spirit Creation realm, 1 star. "What?" someone cried out. "That strong? Then at this rate we can't stop them. Even you just broke through to Ghost Axe realm, 3 stars. Then the researcher froze, eyes widening. "Wait, I'm detecting dark energy signals again." "What? Dark energy? No wonder the pollution's skyrocketing." They stared at the readings in horror as the researcher muttered, "Now I get it. The Wolf King evolved with dual attributes, wood and poison fused with darkness. This is extremely rare." He glanced at the meter again, and his face drained of color. The number 90 had changed to 100. "Impossible!" he shouted. "Even if we can't win, we must stop them. If this pack finishes evolving, the entire city below will be wiped out." But before anyone could react, the ground began to quake violently beneath them. "Wait, do you feel that? The hillside is shaking. An earthquake? No, this isn't natural." The researcher checked the meter again and froze. The number wasn't 100 anymore. It was 1,000. Everyone turned pale. "What kind of energy is this?" "This is the power of destruction." "But how can destruction appear here?" Panic erupted. "Run! Get to the safe zone!" one of them shouted as they scrambled down the slope. Another gasped. "Could it be the sky ghost vine that vanished earlier? But there was no warning." "Evacuate all residents immediately!" the captain yelled. As they ran, one of them stopped suddenly, pointing ahead. "Captain, wait! The desolation energy's vanished. But what is that thing?" Massive vines were bursting from the earth, twisting skyward. The captain's eyes widened. "The desolation energy, it's sunk deep into the mountain." Another added uncertainly, "Strange, it feels like the danger's gone. Should we still report this?" Meanwhile, back on the battlefield, the once barren land had transformed into a vast field of crimson flowers swaying in the wind. At its center stood the enraged Wolf King, its eyes glowing like burning coals. It raised its claw high, ready to strike. Our hero stood still, calm as ever. "These spiritual flowers will keep multiplying until they drain every drop of your energy. You can protect yourself, but what about your pack?" From every direction, massive vines whipped through the air, wrapping around the wolves and dragging them down. Their howls echoed as their bodies withered into dust, their life force sucked away until only skeletons remained. The flower pulsed brighter, absorbing their essence, evolving right before his eyes. The Wolf King, desperate and furious, unleashed a devastating blast of energy. But before it could reach him, gigantic vines rose from the ground, forming a barrier that absorbed the attack completely. Our hero smiled faintly. "It's useless. Haven't you realized yet?" He looked around as the mountain glowed faintly red. "The desolation power has already rooted deep beneath this forest. This endless sea of flowers draws from the mountain and returns to it." Then with a calm tone he added, "You've gained intelligence through evolution. But let me tell you something simple. Wildfire cannot destroy it. When the spring breeze blows, it grows again." The Wolf King howled in defiance, but the flower beneath them began to shift, its petals turning a deep blood red. Our hero looked at it softly. "Little flower, he's found you. What will you do now?" As if it understood, the flower unfurled its petals and lunged forward, devouring the Wolf King whole. The beast screamed and thrashed, but the vines tightened, draining every ounce of energy it had. Within moments, only bones remained. Then even those crumbled to dust. Watching silently, our hero thought, "What an overbearing power of desolation! I never expected this." After infusing it with desolation energy, the spiritual flower created its own cultivation method, without any help from me. Moments later, the flower spat out the Wolf King's bones and glowed with immense energy, crimson and radiant. He watched in awe. Once trapped in this endless sea of flowers, no anomaly can ever escape. Even if destroyed, they'll reform again, feeding on infinite desolation until everything turns to white bone. He smiled slightly. Let's call it the endless spiritual sea. As the crimson petals shimmered with overwhelming power, a faint message appeared before his eyes. Spiritual flower has developed a new desolation attribute technique, endless spiritual sea. A quiet smile touched his lips. So you've evolved too. The shockwaves spread like wildfire, and far away, the research team immediately detected the anomaly. One of them shouted in alarm, "A-class anomaly contamination detected!" One of them reported, his voice trembling, "Look at this! 2 completely different spiritual energies just appeared in the contaminated zone. The Wolf King's evolution produced a dark attribute, but another desolation-type energy just erupted out of nowhere." Behind them, an old senior stood beside Su Qing, his eyes sharp and voice low. "Where is this location?" he demanded. "The low mountain forest, sir. It's the area Captain Su was overseeing earlier," the researcher replied quickly. The old man's face darkened. Wasn't the Demolisher squad sent there to suppress the wolf pack? Just then his phone rang. On the other end was the Demolisher squad, the same team stationed on the mountain with our hero. The researcher spoke in a shaky tone. "This is Demolisher squad reporting. The Wolf King, it mutated. A massive surge of desolation energy erupted out of nowhere. The readings are off the charts." He hesitated, then continued. "That energy completely wiped out the A-class Wolf King anomaly, but instead of spreading outward, it tunneled deep into the mountain. Now strange flowers are blooming everywhere, glowing, unnatural. We can't get close. If this energy erupts again, the destruction could surpass even the airborne ghost vines incident. Requesting backup. If something goes wrong here, not even all of us combined could stop it." Hearing that, the old man's expression hardened. "In that case, send 2 elite units there immediately." Behind him, Su Qing's eyes widened in fear. Her mind raced as she whispered, "The back mountain, this feeling, it has to be him again." Then, with sudden conviction, she spoke louder. "Wait! The source of this desolation energy, it must be Feng Yi. His home's right in that area. He'll protect everyone there." The focus then shifted back to the mountain, where the flower had grown enormous, its petals glowing with fiery energy. Feng Yi stood before it, amazed. "So, after devouring the Wolf King, you're evolving again, gaining a second attribute, fire." He let out a short laugh. "Didn't see that coming." Reaching out, he gently touched the flower. "To think you can evolve just by devouring others, that's one absurdly easy way to grow stronger." The flower suddenly shrank, floating into his hand as a glowing orb. A notification flashed before his eyes. "Spirit Flower has devoured the mutated Wolf King and its pack. Evolution complete. Desolation Flame Spirit Flower, A-class anomaly. Attributes: desolation and fire. This spirit flower hungers endlessly for spiritual energy and can be nurtured within the boundless dark realm." Feng Yi's eyes gleamed as he murmured, "The boundless dark realm." A dark circle of energy formed in his palm. Of course, why didn't I think of this before? If I plant the spirit flower inside the boundless dark realm surrounded by dark energy, it might evolve once more and gain a dark attribute. Without hesitation, he placed the flower into the dark realm. Instantly, the sky above began to shift, clouds twisting as energy crackled through the air. "Breaking through already," he said softly. "Spirit forging realm, 2 stars." He sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. Energy from the heavens descended, merging into his body as his own spiritual power resonated with the flow of the world itself. "I can feel it," he thought. "Heaven and earth's energy flows into me naturally. I've never felt this harmony before." But far away, a figure was watching him. His eyes narrowed as he muttered coldly, "Found you. So this is where you've been hiding." Memories flashed before his eyes. The day Feng Yi first awakened his fire power. Back then, the man had clenched his fists in resentment. "A fire attribute pioneer, huh? I'll crush that pride of yours. I'll prove I'm the #1 fire user in this world." Now in the present, Feng Yi suddenly felt the man's aura closing in. "Who's there?" he called out sharply. Before he could react, a blazing fire blast shot straight at him. Feng Yi dodged instantly, glaring toward the attacker. A fire attribute awakener? He raised his hand, summoning his dark power, a swirling black vortex that devoured the fire attack completely. His eyes narrowed. "Finally, you showed yourself." From the shadows stepped the man, Zhang Lu. He smirked arrogantly. "You're interesting. That power I felt from you, it's strong. How did you dodge my flame burst so easily?" Feng Yi didn't reply, just stared back with cold, piercing eyes. "Oh, where are my manners?" Zhang Lu said mockingly. "Name's Zhang Lu, remember it, because soon you'll be screaming it." In an instant, he charged forward, unleashing another blazing attack. Flames roared across the battlefield, but Feng Yi countered, summoning lightning from the heavens. A bolt of thunder crashed down, exploding on impact. Zhang Lu was thrown back, his body smoking, his face twisted in disbelief. What is this? Lightning? You're supposed to be fire attribute." Feng Yi appeared in front of him in a blur, grabbed his head and slammed it into the ground. "Didn't catch that. What was your name again?" Zhang Lu's face contorted in shock and rage. "Impossible! I'm a Spirit Forging Realm 1-star cultivator, the fastest among all pioneers. I have a high-tier attribute, fire itself. No one should be able to suppress me." Feng Yi's eyes glowed. He tightened his grip, sending another bolt of thunder straight into his head. Zhang Lu screamed in agony, his body trembling violently. "It hurts! Why can't I move? He's fire attribute too. Then why does he have lightning?" Feng Yi looked down at him, his voice calm yet terrifying. "Is this your real power? Kids these days, far too confident." Zhang Lu's mind went blank as fear consumed him. No, this can't be happening. He's not even a 2-star yet. But his pressure, it feels like he's 3 rounds above me." And in that moment, as thunder rumbled across the mountain, Zhang Lu finally realized this was the day he met a true monster. Our hero placed his hand on Zhang Lu's head once again. Seeing that, Zhang Lu's eyes widened in terror. He screamed, "No, don't kill me!" His body trembled uncontrollably, fear etched across his face. For a moment, our hero just stared at him, silent, unreadable. Then he slowly removed his hand and said coldly, "Let me give you a piece of advice. Power isn't meant to be used recklessly against people. If you've got time to waste, use it clearing out rampaging anomalies instead." Zhang Lu froze. He didn't reply, just sat there, eyes hollow, his pride shattered. Without another glance, our hero turned and walked away. Inside his mind, Zhang Lu's thoughts spiraled. What does that even mean? Such pure spirit energy. Is his ability that overpowered? Or am I just weak? Sometime later, the scene shifted to the city. Jung-Lu walked silently into an apartment building. Inside, two men were already waiting. One of them laughed lightly. "You're back, and that new haircut looks good, man." The other one, sitting on the couch, said calmly, "Young Master Jung-Lu, I've told you before, you provoke too many people. That's not good." The first guy walked up, frowning. "Even if you get angry again, I'll say it. You can't keep acting like this. The Spirit Kai revival hasn't even begun properly yet. We're still small compared to the real pioneers, and you're already making enemies left and right. That's reckless, way too reckless. You fight whoever you see, friend or foe. You're going to get yourself killed." The second man stood, noticing Jung-Lu's silence. "Strange, you've been scolded for minutes, but you haven't said a single word, not even a glare?" Ignoring them both, Jung-Lu walked past and sat down quietly. His silence made them uneasy. "What's going on?" one of them asked, walking closer. He placed a hand on Jung-Lu's shoulder. "Hey, are you possessed or something? Where's the old Jung-Lu, the guy who picked fights for fun and threw punches at every word?" The first man joined in, confused. "Weren't you supposed to challenge that heavenly fire slash today? What happened out there?" Finally, Jung-Lu spoke. His voice was low, broken. I lost." The room fell silent. The second man blinked. "Lost? What are you saying?" Jung-Lu's voice cracked as he repeated, "I lost, in just one strike." His hands trembled. Tears welled up in his eyes. "One hit, and it was over. I should have stopped. I should have realized something was wrong back then." The first man's expression turned serious. "That person was that strong? You're a high-level fire attribute genius. You broke through to spirit creation realm in less than a month after awakening. There are barely a handful like you in the entire province." Jung-Lu's voice shook as he recalled the moment. "It happened instantly. My strongest move, the blazing firebolt, shattered completely under his lightning strike." The other man frowned. "Could you have fought the wrong person?" The second tried to comfort him, patting his shoulder. "Your fire attribute purity is 50%. That's insane. Unless someone's from a top war zone, no one should be able to fight you evenly." The first added, "Exactly. You awakened late, but still you defeated 2 wild pioneers already at 3-star ghost carving realm. That's no small feat. Are you sure this heavenly fire slash wasn't just a misunderstanding?" Jung-Lu suddenly stood up, grabbed him by the collar, and shouted, his voice breaking, "How could I be mistaken? That place, it was his territory. You didn't see it. You didn't feel that power. He's a total monster." His voice trembled with raw fear. "That thunder, it was like heaven itself roaring beside my ears. The pressure was unbearable. My gut tells me it's him. He's a dual attribute pioneer. Fire and lightning. His lightning is multiple times stronger than my fire. He must have been hiding his true power all along. At least a 3-star spirit creation realm, maybe more." Both men stared in shock, faces pale. A 3-star wild pioneer?" one of them whispered. "That's impossible." The second nodded slowly. "If what you're saying is true, then this guy will become every top pioneer's nightmare." The room fell silent. None of them could imagine such a terrifying opponent. Jung-Lu lowered his head, tears still rolling down his cheeks. "He crushed me with a single move," he said softly. "Tell me, should I try to become his disciple instead?" The story then shifted back to our hero. He was sitting quietly in his room, deep in contemplation. His brows furrowed. "Weird. I was just about to break through to 2-star spirit creation realm, but that feeling suddenly vanished." He stopped, exhaled slowly, and stood up. "It's not my body. Then what is it?" As he walked outside, he thought deeply. The spirit Kai isn't resonating properly. I can't form the celestial phenomenon for advancement. Could it be something major is happening? Is the spirit Kai revival starting early in this city? Just then his communicator blinked. It was Jan calling, but the signal showed unavailable. Fang Yi frowned. The military already moving? No. If it were a major anomaly, I'd have been contacted directly. Suddenly, another call came in, this time from Su Qing. Seeing her name, he answered. Through the static, her trembling voice came through. Fang Yi, the situation is getting worse, requesting backup. Before she could finish, a loud thud echoed from the window. A bat had slammed right into the glass. Fang Yi glanced at it, but stayed focused on the call. Your signal's bad. Are there that many anomalies appearing in the city? Su Qing's voice broke apart with static. No, it's very serious. I'm still inside the city. Hello, hello. The line went dead. At the same moment, the bat outside twitched. It wasn't dead. The glass cracked and shattered as the creature forced its way into the room. In one smooth motion, Fang Yi's eyes flashed coldly. You overestimate yourself. He raised his hand, and a bolt of thunder exploded from his palm, reducing the bat to ashes in an instant. The door burst open. Lin Yi rushed in, panicked. Cousin, there are so many bat-type anomalies flying outside. She stopped, noticing the broken glass. Something's definitely wrong, right? Fang Yi nodded slightly. Could be. If we're lucky, it's still under control. But if not, this city might be facing a major transformation, just like the disasters we've seen before. He looked toward the shattered window. Two-star ghost-carving anomalies usually hide in the dark. They don't attack cities, let alone a pioneer's home. Something's not right. He turned to Lin Yi. Call every pioneer you can reach. Have them come here immediately. Lin Yi nodded. Got it. He continued. You're almost at the spirit creation threshold, right? Then I'm leaving the house's defense to you. Guard this window. Don't let anything in. Think you can handle that? Ling Yi clenched her fists and firmly nodded. Yes. Meanwhile, the scene shifted again, back to Su Qing and her team. Their signals flickered with interference. One of her team members said nervously, Captain, the signal's too unstable. Fang Yi can't hear our location clearly. Su Qing's face was tense. If a catastrophe really breaks out, we'll have to handle it ourselves. Another soldier asked, could this be a malfunction? I mean, what even is an unclassifiable anomaly? Su Qing took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. I hope it's just a false alarm too. She lifted her communicator. All units, report your status. Patrol zones, contamination levels, anything unusual. A reply came through, static, cutting every word. Area A, contamination level 4. All units, stay alert. But before they could finish, the sky above them began to twist violently. A dark vortex formed, massive and unstable, and from within it, countless bat-type creatures poured out like a living storm. The team looked up in horror as the sky turned black with flapping wings. Someone screamed, "A swarm of anomalies! A swarm of anomalies!" And with that, chaos consumed the battlefield.